Hi there, this is Mark, and I'm actually in front of the Whole Foods in my neighborhood, and I'm doing my reading from the Golden Present. This is the daily inspirational readings by Sri Swami Satchidananda. I just did a little shopping here, and I am going to be meeting up with a friend in a bit, and thought, you know what? I'm going to do my reading right now. There is a table and little sitting area, so here I am. And today's July 2nd, and the topic is, but did they bring us liberty? Ultimately, we are all looking for happiness, and that cannot be experienced without liberty. We see happiness as God. Everything and everybody is looking for happiness, but it is not something that has to be brought in from outside. Happiness is already within us and is to be experienced. No one can bring us liberty, bring us happiness. The Founding Fathers made the Declaration of Independence, but did they bring us liberty? Did they bring us happiness? They could not. They could only guide us, as all the great men and women do. We have to follow that guidance. The Declaration is a beautiful expression of age-old religious truth. We are all made in God's image, says the Bible. If we want to experience that joy within, we have to liberate ourselves from our own self-made bondage. Nobody on earth is interested in binding you. Even if someone were interested, nobody could do that. It's completely in your hands to be bound or to be free. Bondage is not real. If you think that you are bound, you are bound. If you think that you are free right this moment, if you think that you are free right this moment, maybe right in this moment, and that from time immemorial you have never been bound, then you are free. You feel that freedom. So the freedom or the joy. Yeah. So the freedom or the joy of freedom has to come from right thinking, from not thinking that you are bound. Who is a free person? The one who is interested in liberating himself or herself from self-made bondage. Goodness. Well, I mean, I guess being July 4th is coming up. This is something certainly to be thinking about, and a couple things that came to mind is, thinking about how we can put ourselves in bondage from news, from information, feel like we're being held captive to information that's in some regard feels like it's out of our hands, but the truth is it is in our hands, and how we relate to it, how we respond to it, and what we do about it. If we're just one who reacts and goes into either panic mode or fear mode, then we're choosing to put ourselves in that situation that ends up not really taking action in a way that's going to create change. It's more just that reaction that maybe makes us feel like we're responding because there's been input, and then it feels like we're taking action because we're making the response. But what truly are we doing in terms of helping to create change? And I like, in this reference, did our forefathers give us liberty? No. They created this declaration, and there's a lot of reference around who made that declaration, and was it really for everyone? I think the intention was certainly there for everyone. But in truth, it's for us to be able to find that within ourselves, how we find that freedom and that happiness. And I will say, it's certainly much harder for some of us than others, depending on where we grew up, how we grew up. Our culture really isn't a fairly treated culture. There's definitely been a lot of bias and mistreatment. I mean, just look at our history and when there have been civil rights movements to show like it's really not been that long ago. So there's a lot of things that are culturally have been out of balance, historically have been out of balance. So it can be a little harder to find that happiness or that sense of liberty within when it feels like, it's not been there really that long. But what the spiritual teachings show us is that no matter what, and even as Swami Satchidananda is saying this, and he's understood what happened in India and when it was under British rule and other kinds of imprisonment and unfair treatment of people throughout history, there is still a way to be able to relate to that internal peace and happiness rather than to expect it from the outside or to be given to us from the outside, because we may be waiting a long time. But if we can start to generate that peace, that happiness, that sense of liberty and freedom within us, that's already channeling as part of our truth. It's actually not something we have to try to get. It's already channeling as part of the energy that we rightfully have as a human being. Constitution did get that right. We are all created equal. We just don't seem to really listen to that all the time. So what can we do that helps us dive in to hear that inner voice that says you are free, you are liberated, you are a peaceful being? Some practice is what I've needed to do, to be able to quiet the mind, to be able to quiet basically all those outside voices that are filled with fear, that are full of panic, worry. Oh no, they're going to take over, so I better, step a little harder. So instead, what can be done that helps us see that part of us that is already, shining brightly. It just maybe got covered up in different parts of our life. What can we do to help uncover that? And that, for me, is a spiritual practice. I think some of the religions also offer that too. Being able to, treat others like you want to be treated. To be able to, work towards purifying ourselves. Because when we purify the mind, if we purify the body, we do know what we do end up seeing what is so, what is true. So that's what I'll share from here in front of Whole Foods today. So thanks for watching and being a part of this. And I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.